It is Tuesday night. It is Sick Podcast Anvil Showtime. We are signing free agents on day one. We picking up quarterbacks that no one wants. It's a lot to talk about. People are making comments. Yeah, lock in for this show. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Anvil Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yes, sir. It's going to be sick. It seems like someone's missing.
Uh-oh.
But what is going on over there?
Where he at, dude? Oh, there he is.
That's
Okay.
here.
All right. Well, hold on. Let me officially start the show. Yes, that is the official sound of the anvil. That means your show is hot. It is live. Please share, push it out to everybody. Let the notifications begin. Your boys are back. And fellers, this isn't as it usually is. A lot of people thought that the year 9 talk, if you would be the same as year 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 when it came to Chris Ballard. But soon as the bells rang yesterday, my notifications was going nuts because we were signing Cam Bynum. We would then sign Charvarius Ward. Then we would go on and do something small in-house, Doolin. Yeah. Chris Ballard said he was active, and then today, I guess you could call that the oh no, we actually did it pick up when we picked up Daniel Jones. But moral of the story is day 1, day 2, Chris Ballard has been active. So before we get into the names and how we feel and what others may feel about said names, Pat McAfee, other folks,
Boo.
how do we look at this free agency currently, and what does that make you feel about this team? I have to start with you, Chris, because in all honesty, sir, you have been much of a non-believer in there would be change. The man could not go and find this new I'm going to spend money that's not mine, and he's been spending it and spending it well. So, Chris, the floor is yours.
So I want to say, first off, I have to premise, it was never about the fact that it's just like he won't. I didn't have the expectation that he would, because I went into this offseason not having any expectations because I wasn't going to be excited, nor was I going to be pissed off by action or inaction. So let's just get that out the way. Now, this right here, I was very excited yesterday because we were discussing the Cam Bynum talk. I take a phone call, and then all of a sudden we have Ward. And that was fantastic.
It was.
And in true form, we signed a quarterback we got no business signing for an amount of money that he had no business getting. And like we can all just be very honest here. Like I'm not gonna touch on the Pat McAfee stuff, not yet, because we ain't there yet. But like I said, I mean, I knew that Ballard had it in him, but I didn't know that he was actually going to go out there and actually do it.
Yeah, he committed. He committed to the cause. People have been saying maybe it's because no kidding, BS out the window. Hey, jobs are at stake here. You've been selling us short for all these years. Do something to be better. Whatever you want to call it, however, but we are now here. So, I mean, I have been saying it was going to be different. I didn't put names to, the I guess the roster specifically, but shit, he's shown me that he can be different. So I'm here for it. Now, what money looks like currently, I mean, we restructured Braden Smith. We know that we are definitely signing folks on big bonuses this year to leave more cap to play with for the said year. So there's still potentially room for a couple decent guys, or maybe one big play, there's still money there, and we potentially may restructure other deals or cut others. I mean, things could still happen. So I don't know. Him and Ed Dodds are cooking at the moment in my thought process. Let
Yeah,
Ballard cook. I ain't heard that in a long
I,
time.
I,
Let Ballard cook.
quite frankly, I'm just shocked. I mean, the thing is, I like the presser was very telling, right? Because it wasn't his usual where he's able to just kind of beat around the bush, just like say some things that say, hey, I didn't do a great job this year, but then also kind of like scapegoat to the fact that, hey, there wasn't a whole lot out there for us. When we know it's just like we just watch the free agents leave and go to other teams and sign for like 1 year deals. So, like I said, it's just like you saw that there was going to be like the tone was completely different. But
Fair.
once again, because of what we've seen for the last 8 years, we weren't going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, he's definitely going to make a move, because there was many times where he could have absolutely made moves and he just didn't.
Yeah, true that. So Pat, where are you at on this? How do you feel?
Well, I got a lot of feelings for tonight, but to stick with the topic of Chris doing something versus Chris not doing something, I think he's always, for the most part, shot us straight.
Okay.
And that presser, he says, "Look, it didn't work. I failed. Can't do that. We tried it. It failed. Now everybody's going to have competition.
Yeah.
Quarterback, and look what he's doing."
That's going to be an interesting conversation when we switch gears. But I mean, a couple things I wanted to hit on. Okay, so we knew we had 18 unrestricteds coming in. So currently,
can I interrupt you for just a second?
There you go. Sure.
Thank you.
Interrupt me.
I want to give a special shout out to Teresa tonight.
Okay.
She's got some stuff going on with her life. So if everybody could keep her in your prayers, that
Absolutely.
would be most gracious of you to do that for her. And Teresa, to make you feel better, you get that signed photo of Reggie Wayne.
We're trying to get bonus points. We
Hey,
actually going to give love
I'm trying to lift a young lady's spirit.
Okay, I'm glad that you do that, but Teresa, don't give him no special more than us, feelings, because we all love and care for you. But he's always trying to grease the wheels. You fucking suck up.
Wow.
Wow.
He said,
Somebody
wow.
got jelly.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
back to my shit.
That's crazy.
Okay. So we had 18 unrestricted free agents. So let's go down the list and talk about who's already on new rosters. We got Will Fries, which was a big one. He got life-changing money for a former 7th-round pick who, barely was fighting to make the roster a couple of years ago. To go to one of the highest paid guards in the league is pretty crazy in a 3-4 year span. So congrats to him, especially after the horrific injury to his leg. So that was I'm happy for Will. He's not a Colt anymore, but hey, I'm happy that it worked out. So Will's gone. He's a Viking. Ryan Kelly, a Viking.
Also a Viking.
Yeah. Deo is a Bear. And I think that's all I've seen that's been signed. Oh, and of course, Doolin came back to us. So am I correct in that? Have you caught anybody else that was unrestricted and has been signed?
No, not yet. No, I think
Okay.
Doolin was the only other one, and I mean there's still some guys who are out there who I think are probably going to maybe stand the test of time in free agency.
Uh-huh.
I can see Speed being one of them. I know Grant Stewart is also a free agent.
Yep.
I know Julian Blackman is out there. There's going to be some guys who are still going to be out there regardless. So
yeah, Mo Alley, Blackman, Taven Bryant, Sammy Ellinger, Joe Flacco, Fries, Glowinski, Granson, Ronnie Harrison Jr., David Long, Danny Pinter, Trey Sermon, EJ Grant, Juwan Winfrey. Whew. that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the unrestricteds that we had. Now let's switch gears because everybody wants to talk about the things. Let's start with Kyle. Bring that back up for me, please. Let's see what Kyle says. For some good, forsaken reason, Daniel Jones won the starting job. Do you consider Richardson to be one of the biggest flops in draft history? Also, if Danny Dimes wins the starting position, are they tanking for Archie? All right, man. Here we
There's a
go.
lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a
That is
lot.
a ton.
There's a lot to unpack. And before we do the unpacking there, we might as well just reverse the order. We'll go straight to Danny Dimes because that happened today. So let's Sam, if you could please cue up Pat McAfee first. Okay.
It's a good picture, Sammy. Any audio?
Oh, wait a minute.
I guess not.
Sammy. Oh shit. No Twitter space, no no
I was
voice.
gonna say I didn't see me live on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, apparently Elon and the X crew are not friendly.
Elon sucks. I can't even get back into my Twitter account. So
Okay. So
I'm
why
just locked out
Sammy?
completely.
You would remember your password, maybe you'd be getting it.
Hey.
Well, Hey, guess what? If he stops,
I'm trying to help.
If he doesn't ask me to
Bruh.
get a code generator that doesn't work, then we'll be fine. But you know what? I'm not gonna go off on him. Okay. You know what? We're going back to this. By the way, Daniel Jones, awful signing. But we'll
Okay.
get back into that. So
Holy
yes.
shit. All right, we'll wait to see if Sammy can cue that back up. But let's talk about it while we're there. Okay, so a lot to unpack there. If Danny beats out Richardson, is Richardson one of the biggest flops in draft history? First question. Second question. Now are we tanking for Archie like 2 seasons? That's insane. Okay, so let's start here. I will say this. The guy was 22-44 over his starting career as a Giant. 70 TDs, 47 picks. Don't quote me on the passing yards or the completion percentage because all of that's not coming to my mind now.
Ask
Nope.
Adam J.
However, tremendous dysfunction offensively, coaching wise, atmosphere, you fucking name it, in New York. Danny Dimes, in a lot of ways, is Trevor Lawrence. The numbers support that. The record has slightly, probably if for a minute there they were like tied with records is where they was win-loss, but that's probably different now because he got cut mid-season and stuff like that. Moral of the story. Okay, 64.7 completion over his career. That's
Other
pretty
moves
damn
that have been
solid.
made since we've last been live. But
Wait a minute.
ladies and gentlemen, the big one is
Okay.
we got him. The Indianapolis Colts have signed their quarterback, not only of next year, but of the future. He's from Duke. He's a freak athlete, and he's ready to lead a team to success for the first time, long time. Sometimes you got to run into a few walls before you get to the championship title. Sometimes you got to slay a few dragons before you get to the princess. Sometimes you got to be on the Giants, then on the Vikings, and then you find yourself in Indianapolis. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, has signed with the Indianapolis
pretty
Colts on a
good.
1-year, $14 million deal. And look out, AFC South. Look out, AFC. We got our guy. Now, there is a clip circulating, and I don't love this, from 2023 when I was talking about the Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen partnership and how magical it could be. It could be something special. What Shane Steichen was able to
Okay, let's just leave that there. It was a lot more to go with that, but that was the part. So, and I'm gonna towel this back before I kick it around back to where Kyle was. First off, I didn't think Pat McAfee was no longer a season ticket holder, and I thought he really wasn't messing with the Colts organization because of what he said at the end of the season. So we got our guy is crazy work. I don't even know that you're still a part of the fan base. I'll start with that. Secondly, there seems to be some weird controversy, in my opinion, that Anthony Richardson is like by some means like challenged here. for all that Danny Dimes is, to me, he's not a challenge for Anthony Richardson. I think that Anthony's more athletic, all the things. I think he's serviceable to make him compete because for the first time, he's not really dealing with a very like whatever guy. Danny Dimes was a high draft pick. Danny Dimes has shown that he could play well at certain moments. He won a playoff game a couple years ago. He had a really good season once upon a time. I think he can make the throws. The 64.7 shows that. But at the same token, like this isn't like, oh my God, like this guy is going to dethrone Anthony immediately. He already went to the bench. I even seen today that, Anthony's agent had to come out and say, no, he's not requesting a trade because of the signing. Like, I'm like, what is everybody talking about? If you want competition, you got two younger guys. I give you that. You got two guys that can have similar, very similar play styles where you don't have to completely alter your playbook. You're not going from an athletic guy to a statue like last year with Flacco. But other than that, the similarities are there, but he's not going to dethrone Anthony just because we signed him. So I don't get that. So going back to what Kyle is saying, I'm gonna just say this: Anthony's still QB1. He will beat out Danny Dimes, but we know if Anthony has issues, we bring in a similar caliber player as far as being able to utilize their feet and throw the ball on the run. That's about as close as it gets for me. So, and we're definitely not going to tank for Archie because that's still 2 seasons. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yep.
So now I punt it to you guys. Since we had to lead with Danny Jones, we'll talk about Pat's thing and then his comment, and then we'll play the other one. But you guys tell me, outside of just being enraged, you, Chris, that we signed, as you say, a terrible quarterback, like what other feelings are there? Is this like a scary moment or anything like that? I say no, but you got the floor, and then we kick it to Pat. Tell me what you think.
No, and we can talk about Daniel Jones until we're blue in the face. Daniel Jones had one good season when Saquon had the best season that he had outside of the season that he had with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Daniel Jones's game, Daniel Jones is basically going to be a check down merchant. He's not throwing more than 15 yards. Fantastic. He has a completion percentage that allows him to throw within 15 yards where he just happens to be T-Moo Tom Brady. So when it comes down to what he's actually doing, he's not going to be somebody who's going to be high volume or is going to be a passer. He was very much relying on Saquon. And when Saquon wasn't there, we saw exactly who he was. Mind you, when he had Saquon at full strength for a full season where Saquon was fully healthy, they were able to get to the playoffs because Saquon was carrying that team to the playoffs, and they were running RPOs and they were throwing short passes. As soon as Saquon leaves, guess what happens? Daniel Jones get cut midseason. The Giants are willing to take an $80 million dead cap hit because of the fact that Daniel Jones is not good the way that they believe he is. Daniel Jones is not going to be actual competition. Daniel Jones is going to be a solution if for some reason AR gets hurt. So I like, spare me with this whole because all I've been hearing all day is that, oh yeah, well, Daniel Jones, he's going to be playing behind a better line. He's going to be doing this. He had a 2,000-yard rusher in his backfield, and that's the only reason why he even remotely won a playoff game. Outside of that, this man went for what, an 80-yard run and tripped over himself. That's the highlight of his career. Daniel Jones's highlight for his whole entire career was the fact that he got tripped by a phantom tackler. I don't want to hear it when it comes down to Daniel Jones and all this. He has 6 years in the league. This isn't somebody who has shown flashes in a 2 to 3 year period. This is 6 years. He had a 4-year, $160 million contract, and they got rid of him the second year into that contract.
I remember.
Spare me with the BS. I don't want to hear it when it comes down to Daniel Jones. He's not competition for him. Daniel Jones is an insurance policy just in case AR gets hurt.
So, okay. So, yes, you said a lot there. Now, Pat, I was going to throw this to you. So Luis says, no, bring that back up, please. I think Anthony is in trouble if it's a true open competition. Dimes is a better thrower, which is the most important part of being a QB. I don't care if AR can bench 500 pounds and can run a 4.0 40. What's your thoughts?
On Luis's comment?
Yes.
Hater.
Okay.
He's just being a hater.
That's
it.
Bruh.
That's it.
Say that word again. Say that sound again. What is it?
Hater.
But anyways, ain't nobody out there gonna convince me that Daniel Jones has a better arm than Anthony.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's gonna convince me that Daniel Jones has better legs than Anthony.
Uh-huh.
Now, the only thing that Daniel Jones might have over Anthony, and this is a huge might because of everything Chris just said,
Uh-huh.
is that he might understand how to read the defenses a tad bit better.
Fair.
But then again, you get cut mid-season because you suck. That is facts. You don't get cut mid-season because you're playing well. You don't get cut mid-season because your ceiling is so high and everybody's waiting for you to reach it. You get cut
Okay.
mid-season because you suck.
All right.
And this is exactly what happened to him. Now, can he get better? Yes. Will he get better? I don't care. AR's my guy. I'm sticking with AR.
Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's define competition for how you guys see it. I'll begin. For me, competition in this in just these two quarterbacks will probably primarily be, can you hit you know the give me passes, which Danny has shown he can, 64% versus Anthony 47 last year or whatever the hell it was. So plus there. Is his arm as big as Anthony's? Well, no, we know that. I think that Anthony has more scramble and play making capability. I feel like the RPO, a true RPO where you're going to allow the quarterback to keep and actually try to move the sticks, goes to Anthony. I feel like, strength and all that goes to Anthony. And hell, I'll even say this, even though Danny is the veteran, I believe that the confidence still goes to Anthony. Anthony has some shitty games where it comes to percentage. And I never seen him shook like, I don't want to be out there. Now, people will immediately say, oh, well, he took a knee and this and that. That's being tired and being young and not knowing like, oh, shit, I can't pee-wee football this. But I've seen Danny in moments where he like, everything is going bad and he has that face like, oh, my God, I don't even want to be in the stadium. Like he's hearing the boos. He's like, Anthony hear the boos and clap that shit off and run off the field and talk about some shit and come right back out there and try to play through it. I've seen Danny, like, it looks like his face is saying, please, I can't take any more of this. Like, I'm shattering in the inside. Now, that's just me just having my viewpoint of the thing. But what I'm getting at is the competition has to be a realistic one for our community, our fan base. Like, we didn't bring in Josh Allen and you're like, yeah, bye, Anthony. Right? Like, damn, you ain't got a chance here. This ain't Pat Mahomes here. But I think the competition becomes like, can we put in Steichen's playbook and truly in the now going into his third year, see two guys, one of them not being Sam Ehlinger, running everything that he wants to do for a complete evaluation. You see what I'm saying? Because there's two different playbooks when you got a Gardner Minshew and an Anthony Richardson. There's two completely different playbooks when you got a Joe Flacco at 40 and Anthony Richardson. But for the first time, I think, like, call one play, give all said options, and both guys to the I guess the extent of their ability can do everything that I asked of here. We don't have to do nothing different because having Joe Flacco in the RPO because Anthony's hurt makes no damn sense. Like, it was stupid. Like, you're never keeping it. Like, who's fucking going to say, yeah, cover Joe? Nobody. Yeah. All eyes are on Jonathan Taylor.
We gotta make sure we contain Joe.
Yeah, absolutely never. Right.
And I think one thing that's also like not being spoken about enough, especially when it comes to this situation, is the fact that people keep saying like, oh, he's never had weapons. Now, mind you, he played with Malik Neighbors last season. We saw Malik Neighbors play with Drew Lock, and we saw him play with Daniel Jones. And we saw that, he was able to connect with Malik Neighbors, but there were some really bad misses with him, as good as he was. And I mean, Malik Neighbors, he had a good year, but the thing is, it's like you had Drew Lock come in and was able to give Malik Neighbors the type of passes and the type of volume that we're talking about.
Facts.
So
Okay.
I mean, so the thing is, I'm like, and I think that was the same issue that I have with Daniel Jones is going to be the issue that I have with any quarterback, right? It's the fact that we want to speak to, oh yeah, he's going to be in a much better situation. He's going to be this, that, and the other. Injuries happen. It's the NFL. Football's a tough sport to play. But the thing is, when it comes down to quarterbacks, how are they able to respond when everything isn't going their way? I mean, the thing is, it's just like last year, Sam Darnold, for example, he had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. He at one point was able to get TJ Hawkinson back. They had Aaron Jones. Like, you have all these guys.
Mhm.
But then the problem was he played in the system, but then as soon as things didn't line up the way that they were supposed to, Sam Darnold became Sam Darnold again.
Yeah.
So now things aren't going to be lined up in Seattle. There's no DK Metcalf walking through the door. There's no Tyler Lockett there. You have JSN, you have Kenneth Walker, and you have to hope that Kenneth Walker is going to stay healthy. When it came down to Daniel Jones, when everything was breaking down, he broke down.
That's fair.
At least with AR, we've been able to see the flashes. Even last season, we saw the flashes where he had to play behind numerous shifts in the O-line because I think the Jets game, he was without Ryan Kelly.
Yep.
I don't know if Braden
Tanner's first
Smith
start.
played. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Oh, Jesus. Oh, no,
feel like
not Tanner. I thought we were talking about. I thought you
Borderlands.
said Tucker. I thought you said Tucker. My bad.
I
But
think Von played that game too. I think it was 2.
yeah, we
Yeah.
had so the thing was, it's just like we've seen AR play behind the line, and we saw that when he had to play behind that line without Michael Pittman Jr. being at 100%, he actually was able to deliver under those circumstances.
Facts.
So the thing is, right now, if I'm looking at AR, full off season, he's working on the mechanics, he's working with Josh Allen because, like I said, I'm gonna say they're a similar style of quarterback. So for me, it's not like he's not doing the work to get to where he needs to be. To suggest that Daniel Jones, cut mid-season, is going to come in here and automatically do this after we know that AR has had to go ahead and put in the work in the offseason, you've got to be out of your mind to sit there and say anything. And that goes for the Pat McAfees of the world. That goes for the Daniel Jones truthers or whatever you want to call them, because I've seen Daniel
That's
Jones.
hilarious.
I'm from New Jersey. I know Giants fans. Literally, one of my Giants fans friends from New Jersey hit me up and say, "Hey, good luck with that." That's what they sent me in regards to Daniel Jones. And here we are with the fan base talking about Daniel Jones is going to be good. I really need us to shut the F up forever. Because like, why are we saying that Daniel Jones is going to be good? Like, yeah. And the thing is, it's going to be taglines. It's the next coming of Hurricane Dio. It's the next coming of Maniac. It's the next coming of French fries. Like, we're being reduced to a bunch of god awful meme phrases. Like, what are we doing here?
But so here's the thing, like, and I'm gonna be for real. Like, we signed him on a 1 year, 17 million, right? But I really think that that's kind of like okay. So Chris said, "Hey, somebody's behind you. Somebody's has shown capability. Somebody has experience." You know, in all honesty, maybe Danny in a new environment, different team, better this, better that, whatever you want to call it. Maybe he is able to do well. But in a lot of ways, if Anthony breaks out like I think he will, Ace Andretti just said breakout season low, and I feel that it will be. I think that you could still look at Daniel after this and say, you know what, we could put you in a 2-3 year role as a backup, but it doesn't change our offense. Meaning, like, again, because normally you don't have that 1-for-1 swap. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Pat Mahomes and put in an old Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz, when he got his chance to start, he looked a shell of himself. You put the Danny Downs behind him, who still probably got some good years left, but he's not starter material anymore. That's still a solid backup. Like, we haven't had a solid backup. And maybe that's what this is all about. Compete in camp. But I don't think the only way he takes Anthony's job is if Anthony comes out there and he's like laying an egg. He's completely flat. He can miss tons of passes too high, over the middle, all that. That's not going to take his job. What takes Anthony's job, in my opinion, is like literally, bro, like your confidence ain't right. You're still making those rookie mistakes that you were making as a starter last year. We have to make this change. That's the way I see this. I don't think he beats him out just because, oh, his name is Daniel Jones. So that's my thoughts. But Pat, do you have anything else? And they still talking about Beam. Everybody wants to see Beam. He said they both suck.
Jesus Christ.
No, I hate being quiet, but if I speak right now, I'm just going to stumble over what you guys have already said, because my sentiment is the same. You know, I didn't think about that though, Clyde. How similar they are, and Steichen not having to change the playbook. That's huge, especially going with a quarterback that we've seen last 2 seasons get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying he's injury prone. I'm saying that he's young, and
young.
He does young things.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and if anybody is still belittling this man for the tap out situation, stop, grow up. Okay. And that's exactly what he had to do. He did something stupid. He corrected it. Now he grew. And this was our expectations from the beginning when they drafted him. We just wanted to see this kid grow into what we think he can be. And he's still in that growth period. His first off season in the NFL, he was recovering. He was in physical therapy, trying to get back to 100% so he could get back on the field. He didn't have that off season of extra training.
Fair.
You know, he's got that this season.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So going into this season is completely different. Now, I'm not against Ballard bringing somebody in and creating competition, because it is good. Competition is always a good thing. You know, Clyde, before you came onto this show, I was one way. And then you come and you make me elevate my game. Chris, the same with you. You guys are both very intelligent. You both watch this game extremely hard. You know what you're talking about.
Pause.
So you guys make me elevate. That is competition. Not that we're competing against anything, but that's what it is. And this is going to make him elevate his game. It's a great move by Ballard, but for the media world to call him in, we got our guy, Mr. Indiana Jones, and all this stuff. Stop. Just stop. Be better. Be better. Quit doing crap for clicks.
And exactly, because I want to. We can, we can say it, because honestly, Pat McAfee in that show, he has to cling to, because mind you, this is a guy that is over here talking about Daniel Jones as if he's the heir apparent for a man that no longer has season tickets. Like, I don't want to hear anything about the whole, oh yeah, we got our guy, this is what this is going to be. No, because the thing is, he's watched the same games that we've watched. Like, at this point, like, is the news cycle that slow that you're trying to sit there and just dunk on people? And then he made a little snide remark afterwards about AR, this, that, and the other. I'm just like, listen, I don't know what's going on with AR at 22. But I do know that he's been relatively quiet in the offseason, and I know that there's been things that he's going to work. And when we know that Pat McAfee at 22 was going skinny dipping at night in a river, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm just like, it's like, if AR's doing the work at 22, and meanwhile Pat McAfee was swimming butt naked in leech water, then you know what? I would have to say that AR's trajectory is a little bit higher than what we're talking about. But you know what? We're just going to go ahead and just say, listen, for anybody who's taking anything that Pat McAfee says with a grain of salt, more power to you. But when it comes down to it, this is a pivotal year for AR. AR this year, mind you, AR has to play well this year, and he has to play well enough to convince the brass that they can go ahead and give him a fifth-year option. If they don't give him a fifth-year option, then best believe that fourth year or that last year, like the season after next, is going to be the season where they either sign him or they possibly trade him after the fact. But this is going to be an extremely pivotal year, because, like I said, when you give him that fifth-year option, you're going to basically be guaranteeing that he's going to be making anywhere between 40 to 50 million for 1 year. So therefore, you have to really go into this year knowing that, yes, you have everything in front of you. Now, like I said, we haven't heard anything from him. We know who he's going to see. We know who he's working with. And we know that he has a full, healthy offseason to do what he needs to do. And that's all we're going with right now. But the thing is, what we're not going to do is we're not going to sit here and act like Daniel Jones is some type of good fucking quarterback, because he's not.
Well, I
Definitely
mean,
not.
so and it's crazy because I don't want to kill him because now he is a Colt. But here's what I'm going to say, and this is, for everybody that's commenting there, like Taylor said, we should have drafted Ole Miss quarterback Dart. Wasn't possible because he's going to go way too high. So that to me, that's not going to happen unless you was going to take him with your first pick at 14, and that doesn't make sense. But what I'm trying to say is this, and I mean this in the craziest ways. Anthony Richardson, poor play or not, he's not the reason we lost games. I mean, I think we all can agree the reason we lost games was on the other side of the ball. If we get more stops and have more opportunities, or just hold on to a lead, or do a bunch of different other things, not get beat on the first fucking pass of the game against Houston last year, all types of shit like that, we win 2, 3, 4 other games that are close and ugly, but shit, it's enough to get us in the playoffs. If Anthony Richardson playing at 47% goes to the playoffs and win one playoff game, as shitty as he played, we're not having this conversation because we
13.
understand what his potential and his talent is. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say that this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Cam Newton, fucking Michael Vick, even parts of early Andrew Luck, shit percentages, shitty ones, real shit compared to what you would look at as the standard, if you will, 65 or better, shit percentages, right? But found ways to win games because they were on more complete teams, found ways to become who they needed to be because they were able to utilize all of their gifts, not just their arm talent. So what I'm trying to say is, if year 3 shows that Anthony Richardson is a football player, period, and our defense is 15 or above, it's a whole different conversation. We might not ever see a 65% completion percentage out of Anthony Richardson. And honestly, I wouldn't give 2 fucking shits if we were a consistent playoff team and we were on the verge of winning shit, because he's not going to just suddenly win it because he's a 70% completion clip. He's going to win it because he understands the game. He's making far less turnovers or mistakes than he has been. And he can say, if I'm not beating you with my arm, I can beat you with my legs. Shit like that. He can turn his game into what needs to happen on that day. Like, what was the ugly game that we won when we had all those damn rushing yards? He threw like 11 passes. What game was that? Was that the because Taylor broke a couple big runs in that game. Who the hell was that against?
I want to. Was that?
Hurry up, Adam J.
He was like
He's the stat master.
it was a home game. He was only remember he was like 6 for 11 or some shit for the whole game.
Yep.
We literally ran the air out of the ball. What game did Taylor go nuts in?
I want to say it was Jacksonville.
Was that a Jacksonville game? I can't remember. But everybody laughed after the fact because they was like, well, he only threw 11 passes. Like, you can't win games like that. Well, we won that game.
I mean, you
know what I'm saying?
I mean, you won. I mean, you can't win games like that. I mean, who the hell says? Because clearly.
Yeah. Yep. And that's just my thoughts, bro. That's just my thoughts. So we've talked enough about Danny Dimes and what he may or may not bring to the team. But I think as we look at it now, if competition is the key word, it's competition, because literally Shane Steichen is going to say, here's the playbook. I'm not making exceptions. I'm not doing alterations. I'm not saying we're giving away our schematic, advantage if we have one, because this guy's out, this guy's in. We know you're not going to do that today. That's the competition. Period. And the adaptation to who is performing against a defense that's actually giving you something that is actually worthy of a Sunday type experience. Because I know they've been trying to take it light on Gus and say how good of a guy he was. Gus Bradley was fucking terrible. Now, you don't go and kick somebody that's already been fired and say, hey, that's the worst mistake I've ever made.
Well, he got
hiring
another
this
job,
guy.
so we can still kick him.
Well, I'm talking about the brass, not us, the brass. But the fucking guy was fucking terrible. And literally, he was putting no real fucking standard of excellence on that side of the ball. And if I looked good in practice, it's probably because these guys are running shell coverages and everything's easy. Lou is not going to do that. Lou now transitioning is starting to get his help. I mean, Cam Bynum is huge. Travarius Ward was huge. Despite how he may or may not look last year, Travarius Ward has shown that he's a really good fucking player.
Well,
Bynum,
that I want to say, I would say give him grace, because I feel like some of the stuff that was happening was more so centered around the fact that he, the death of his daughter towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
So so the thing is, I don't think it was necessarily play. I think it's just like it was just human thing. So.
But it's like with this fan base at times, like they're never. I don't know what we're looking at sometimes. Cam Bynum coming in here is massive for a 26-year-old safety who is absolutely can be a ball hawk. Has led the league in pass breakups for safety since like 23, I believe. Like, dude, the dude can play football. So can Travarius, and Travarius has played at high level. San Francisco making Super Bowls, Kansas City making Super Bowls. Like, these guys are what was missing. Though we had good players, Kenny's and Defoe and all that. Defoe been to a Super Bowl, but like we didn't have like that level of this is how you get that shit done.
Yeah,
we're starting to bring in guys like that, and now you're looking at a secondary. Kenny, Travarius, hell, you could say Jalen or Juju there. Cam Bynum and Nick Cross. That's dude. Lou is like, I could do all types of shit here. And that's just on the back end.
Yeah.
So now you got to go to the center of the field. Probably going to lose EJ. We know we got Zaire. We still got Carly's there. But now I'm thinking, going back to last week's show, Campbell might be the guy at 14, bro.
Yeah.
Campbell,
yeah, there's a good chance.
I like it.
I would be fine with that. I would be fine with that.
He might be.
That would be my pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes that Tyler Warren.
I mean, Tyler Warren has been my pick.
That's my pick.
I know.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised because of different things that I learned throughout the combine and all that. But Campbell is my pick, and I've held that since we started talking about needs of this team. Have I not, Chris?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I say that because of what Chris and Zach kind of pointed out. Well, first we'll say Chris before Zach, because Chris was talking about this a couple weeks back. But it was like, is anything happening in free agency that assures that now when I pick Tyler Warren, I still don't have these inevitable holes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're starting to shore up some of those inevitable, or not inevitable, it's the wrong word. Some of those glaring holes. Like we had glaring problems in the secondary. Okay. Starting to plug some of that. But what I'm saying now, whether we make a trade for a veteran tight end or not, but whether we sign Evan Ingram or whoever or not, none of that fucking matters now. Because if you're going to go all in on one side of the ball, it had to be defense.
Yeah.
So now Clyde kind of backtracking, Clyde looking at what's happening. I would say whether we do any of the things that bring in a veteran tight end, if Campbell is there, knowing what kind of playmaker he is in the open spaces, the plays he makes, running and chasing the ball and being able to cover, you got to fucking take him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
100%.
make this defense as solid as you can. And then
the bad thing is, after we got Ward and Cam, I started doing some mock drafts, and Campbell wasn't there in any of them. And I probably did a dozen.
I mean, that's what everybody. I mean, maybe not. Like that's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's all hypothetical on the computer. I
I completely understand that.
Or maybe we go up now. I mean, this might be a better year to try to go up. I seen somebody say, do we bring in Trey Hendrickson? I mean, we could.
Yes, please.
But here's what I'm also saying with that. By shoring up the back end, this sounds crazy because usually it works, from the front outward. But in all honesty, if guys can cover better, there's more coverage sacks available.
Yeah.
Now Quiddy, who's a half second from making that sack, maybe he gets there. Latu, who was still trying to work some things out, Latu only had like 4 or 5 sacks last year, but easily when you put on the tape, he could have had 12. Like there was times when he was like right there. Maybe that improves. Maybe Sampson comes back. He has a chip on his shoulder if we decide not to cut him, and he goes back to getting the 9.5, 10 that he had, before injury, where we had the most sacks in franchise history that year. Like a lot of things can fucking happen here. So maybe we don't need Trey.
And you know what? But I think the biggest thing is going to be, I think if you don't make a move for somebody like Trey Hendrickson, you absolutely have to make sure that you're kind of solidifying that linebacker group, right? Because the thing is, the front seven is going to be important, and I think Latu is going to take a big leap because like I said, if you see any way that, or if you see any of how Lou used Trey Hendrickson, he had him standing up, he had him speed rushing, he had him basically just running on 2, just going straight at, and mind you, this is after Latu had to play a 3 tech, which generally he can, but he had to play that the majority of the time under guns. So now we're going to see something different. If you get Latu doing that, I think that's going to open up more opportunities. But the thing is, we also know that we're going to be playing a lot of these quarterbacks that if for some reason the play's not there deep, they're going to try to go intermediate. They're going to try to hit us within that, 10, 15, 20-yard range. And, I mean, Carles can cover. Zaire's not the best in coverage, but the thing is, let's just say, we sign a Kaiser White in free agency, who's probably somebody that you can get for maybe 2-year, $8 million. That's somebody who you can go and you can bring in. And then if for some reason we do get a Jahad Campbell, not only do you have a better linebacking core than you had before, but you have a linebacking core that has now increased their ability to cover, which is going to make the job a lot tougher for these teams that just want to potentially dink and dunk, like the Lions of the world, where they want to dump off to Jahmyr Gibbs and then just throw like the little intermediate stuff. So,
I mean, who's the Zach Bonner this year, right? Like the Eagles absolutely got a steal by taking him from New Orleans, where he was kind of like, solid player, but and now this guy's got a 3-year, $50-something million contract because he played like a fucking animal last year. So you're right. Maybe there is a cheaper guy out there for that situation. Are we talking? Or are we also saying, look at Lewis multiples, like you said, maybe there's going to be 3-4 looks where you just stand up Latu. And you're not worried about a 4-man front, if you will, and you let him play off the edge and wickedly like he's TJ Watt or some shit like that. Like, there's so many ways to do this because primarily now, I don't know the percentage, but most packages are 4-2-5s. It's a nickel type league now.
Yeah.
So you're going to always kind of fight with, am I going to have true linebacking on the field, or am I going to have my best cover guys and hope that they tackle? That's what we've been trying to do. We thought that Zaire, we thought that, EJ were our best coverage guys, i.e. we can let, I ain't gonna say that, but hell, it's a reason that we didn't bring Bobby back, right? When we had a chance. Of course, Shaq, end up his career. But that's a whole other.
There's a reason we didn't bring Bobby back, because I think that was organizational mismanagement.
I think that was money. And I thought that was
100% money.
Yeah, apparently they're not happy with him, right? Like in New York.
But then Z gets the same contract that Bobby got in New York. I was like, come on.
Like what? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I can't really, never mind. I don't even want to go down that road. Let's just let that be. Because that shit didn't make any kind of sense to me. Like freakish athlete, long arms, built awkwardly, the whole Chris Ballard profile, and then you let him walk. So yeah, I don't know. Richie said we still could reunite with Bobby. Maybe. I don't know. But the Giants haven't cut him yet. So, if they do something crazy like that, then maybe. But yeah, I think it'd be crazy not to try to bring him back if they cut him. Trading for him might be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, I say all that to say, like,
well, he's a free agent, isn't he?
No, fuck no.
Who?
No, Bobby's not
Bobby
free.
O.
No.
No.
I
Yeah,
think this is the last year of his deal.
yeah.
Okay. I thought he was going into free agency this year.
No,
Not this year. Well, they were talking about him potentially as like I think as a trade candidate possibly, but I don't know.
Okay. So let's flip back up because there was someone that said something about the O line because I think that is to be talked about. Someone was like, "How do we feel about the O line?" There you go. What do you think about all the O line holes? In my opinion, I don't think that there's many. I think that there's one, and it's honestly the one that was a pain in our ass once Will went down. Is right guard. I really think that's the only one. Tanner shows it. Like now, I talked to my buddy Devin. Remember, we had him on, a while back.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that Devin's ready to be that centerpiece, that crux, that Ryan Kelly voice. I mean, yeah, he's only going into year 2. But I feel like at some point, if you want to take over that role, you just got to do it naturally. For everything
Yeah.
that Ryan Kelly was as a Colt, however you want to look at it, these last couple years have been absolutely absurd. Like the injuries, the time off, when he lost his babies that one year, the concussions, like a center that has 1 to 2 concussions per season, like you can't play center and have concussions, bro. Like you get hit more than anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so those things at year 10 or 11, whichever year he's going into, starts to kind of take a toll. And I think that we're okay moving on with him, moving on from him, I should say. Now I could be completely wrong, but I like how Tanner plays. Tanner played at Wisconsin. He gets it. He knows how to play in the trenches. That's what Wisconsin do. They run the football. I think he'll be fine. I like Matt as a swing tackle. Goncalves, however you say his name.
Yeah, Gonzalez. Yes.
Yeah, so I like him as a swing tackle, but I think the mid rounds are going to be where we go offensive heavy, which is what we did last year. Tanner, Matt, you say this name better than me. They were mid round guys last year, so I feel like there's work to be done in the mid rounds, and they might pick up 1 or 2 veterans, for some low ball deals later. But I don't think that we have tremendous holes on the line. Like
No.
Ryan Kelly was actually, and people probably laugh at me. Ryan Kelly was becoming like a liability. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts.
I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm not gonna say like I think losing Ryan Kelly is a loss. I just don't see it as a huge loss.
No.
And I mean it like because the thing is Will Fries essentially got paid off of a year, like half a year of playing well.
Yeah. Like
And
all
the
of
thing is-
23
Yeah,
was
and
out of his mind.
And Fries, the thing is, Fries had been on the roster. He basically just developed, and that's the one thing I will always 100% give Chris Ballard his flowers for this. Chris Ballard can build an O line, like regardless. And I think for me, that's one thing that I'm not worried about because Bernard Ryman has now turned into I want to say he's like a top 15 left tackle. I think this year is just like maybe he'll just work his way into that top 10.
Right.
And so, when I'm looking at Bortolini, like Bortolini, actually, he played pretty well for
agree.
what he did.
Played damn well.
I think Gonsalves had some bumps here and there, but he also played pretty decent for what they called him onto. Now, the great part about it is that you have these 2 guys that you drafted last year that they're now a year in the system, and I think they'll be able to just be plugged in to where they'll be able to go ahead and step up, and they'll probably go ahead and still draft O-line. But now when you draft O-line, now you know that now you have some depth behind them.
I agree. Couple questions. Yes, Bobby used to be on the start of our old show. Yes, that was him. Hypothetical: if Giants let Bobby go on trade, would you trade for Trey or Bobby? I think that the Bobby move depends heavily on how confident your positioning lands you Campbell. Like I think at some point in the very near future, because of course the draft is at the end of next month, but in the very near future, we're going to almost solidify if we're looking at tight end or if we're looking at these other pieces. These other pieces primarily being probably a game-changing linebacker. I feel like the new blood on the team is Lou as DC, and it's like we need to fill that cup.
Yeah.
Like more than ever. Like I'm backtracking a lot of shit I said a couple weeks ago. And it's solely because though I believed in my heart of hearts, like Chris Ballard, I remember I told you, I was like, he was pretty passionate about, yo, I've been fucking up and I haven't been doing what I needed to, and that's going to change. I felt that he convicted me on that, but I still needed to see it. And day one showed me, okay, yeah, he's not fucking around. So he's putting money into this defense because I'm telling you, over the past couple seasons, you take out the terrible seasons, but over the past couple 9-8s and 9-8s and whatever we were last year, 7-9, right there type seasons, the defense makes one or two more plays or fucking don't have 10 missed tackles in the game. Chris Ballard's probably limping into the playoffs as a wild card multiple years.
I was going to bring up when you was talking about that earlier, as far as, you know, a play here, a play there, we're doing this instead of that. But you didn't bring up the drops from our receiving core.
I mean, yeah,
we got Reggie's got to get a handle on that. I mean, if that ball's catchable, we got to catch it. Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say this: if AR, with working with the mechanics coach, working with who he is, I think that number comes down, because I think the problem with the drops was not just on the wide receivers, but I think it's also the fact that Anthony throws a really, really fast, tough ball at times to those receivers. So I think if Anthony is developing anything, if he develops that touch, I think that number is going to go down drastically.
All right, I don't like that. I saw it last year where he let up off that ball, and it was a goober ball, and it would get intercepted every time. I want my receivers to practice harder, catch the ball. I don't care if it's coming at you 100 miles an hour. Catch the damn ball.
Yeah.
Let this kid be let this kid be who he is. Don't ask him to be somebody that he's not, because that's not him. He's not that little finesse dumper.
No.
He's boom, go bitch, go.
No.
Philip
No,
Rivers
but
noodle
that's
arm.
him. Oh, you want to go 70 yards? Go. Boom, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
You're 10 yards? Boom, I got you. But you better catch it. Now, can he adjust a little bit? Yeah, but he should not have to adjust all the way down to make these receivers say, "Oh, he's thrown the ball too hard in between 10 and 15 yards, and I just can't catch it."
What I'm saying is, but that's the thing. But like what I'm speaking in reference to is the fact that having more touch on things that, like I said, just even let's just say like the wheels to the out, because Jonathan Taylor, he's not a great receiving back. But the thing is, it's just like being able to go ahead and add a little touch to the passes while keeping the speed on there 100%. Because the thing is, there was a lot of those balls where if he throws to Josh Downs, with the speed that he's throwing, instead of throwing it with a little bit more touch on it, Josh Downs is able to go ahead and not have to try to fully extend himself to catch a ball that's going out of bounds.
No, yeah.
So that's why. So the thing is, that's what I'm speaking in reference to. I'm not saying don't be who you are, but I'm saying like tune it a little bit to make sure that we can make sure that even like if you catch one of those and you catch one of those fastballs, you can catch it in stride and just completely go without having to go ahead and damn near just go be like, oh, I'm gonna have to brace myself because this thing is coming out 80 miles an hour and it's going high.
No, yeah, I get you. I feel like, you know,
I misinterpret what you were saying as far as it's the touch. I was thinking, did you see I don't remember the games, but it was just like he was just lofting it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
No, yeah.
But this is the coach who's saying, hey, you got to back off a little bit. No, don't do that to him. Let him be him.
I would say literally, and because we got to get the hell out of here. I didn't even check the time. But this is what I would say overall. This Colts entire team, I know we've been emphasizing competition and we got it because people might lose their jobs. I feel like all summer, whenever they can get in there and you start working with them, just loop everything that's a mistake last year. And then always reiterate, like, would you call yourself top caliber NFL player based off what I just showed you? Because there's so many times Miss catches, wrong routes, miss blocks, mixed tackles, whiff plays, fucking you name it. The whole team was a fucking shit show last year. So all I'm saying is everybody's got to improve in every fucking aspect.
100%.
Absolutely. The only one that doesn't have to improve on that team is Blue. And he
all right,
rocked.
man.
Okay.
Sammy, bring up our handles, man, because we running late. We got to get back on this and see what happens on the next one. All right, Big P, where can they find you?
At Big P Golds on the X. I said,
you said, you
just
some
for,
bitch.
Just for you.
No, that
I don't want you out there on that
no,
island by yourself. No,
hell no, that was not for me. You said it. All right, CJ, where can they find you?
On Twitter, and it will forever be known as Twitter after this gaffe. At CJ Colts fan.
That's why your damn fucking password don't work now.
Yeah.
You've been punished.
A man that spent $44 billion.
Right.
Well, he needs to spend 45 and get some better tech department.
Fine. And you can find me at Coach Clyde on X.
Look at you.
Can you bring up?
You're over there fighting it too.
Can you bring and you can find us at Sick Pod Coach
and everything.
On
he
X.
Said he said on it.
On X sounds crazy though, because what? Yeah, that sounds crazy. On X is wild. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and absolutely commenting and all that. Keep following and sharing. Keep throwing stuff on the page. I love how we do the one word and you guys jump in with emojis and everything else. It's one word, but sometimes y'all put paragraphs. I love it. Keep commenting. Keep showing things. Teresa, get better. Please get better.
Yes, absolutely. Pray
and definitely
yes,
stay connected with the page. Either you're on X or Facebook. We got a lot of stuff in the works right now for the off season, you guys.
Very true.
Number one, we got Josh Downs camp that we're covering all the media for next month. That's going to be an absolute blast. We're going to be able to be live out there. Hopefully we can pin them down and ask a couple questions.
Pause.
But, yeah.
Hey, yo.
You know what I meant. Damn it! Quit being.
You're getting a little loose. You're getting a little loose. That's why we don't let you close the show. But yes, lots of things are absolutely happening.
I don't get to open no more. I don't get to close no more.
Nope,
I'm just here for my looks.
Well,
that's it. That's all you use me for. Thanks, Clyde.
What? A bullshit?
Okay, Sammy, and on that, take us out of here, please.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.